Okay.
We'll hear, there's the recording. Okay. So anyway, I'm Vance Stevens. This is Learning Together. It's the 9th of October, 2016, and we're very happy to have Susan Hillyard with us. Susan has been a presenter on Learning Together before, and she's come back to tell us about her language academy, which has just started up, which is SHELTA, or Susan Hillyard's English Language Teachers Academy. And she's here to tell us about it. Okay, and let's see, I'll just mention too that we're in Blackboard Collaborate, and I'm streaming, or I'm trying to stream. I'll just play with the stream while I've started the stream now. It only has sound, but anyway, at least there's something for people to watch. So people here don't have to worry about the stream, but people who go to webednext.org/live, it's just kind of a tradition that we try to stream on that page. But anyway, that doesn't matter. So welcome, Susan. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. And welcome to the people who are here in the room. We have Luciana from Clearwater in the States, I understand, and Alejandra from Argentina, and Julia from the Ukraine. And I'm based in Buenos Aires in Argentina. So quite a long way from Alejandra, even though she's in the same country. Okay, I'm going to talk about the trials and tribulations of setting up your own online academy. I'm going to explain to you how I thought of it, why I thought of it, and how difficult it was for me to do it. And I'm going to explain to you how I solved my problems with the help of Nellie Deutch, whose course I did on integrating technology for all. So if you are interested in setting up your own academy, or you're interested in joining my online academy for teachers, then that's the information you're going to receive today. Okay. So these are our questions. What is SHELTA? How did I start thinking of it? What was my inspiration? What skills did I need? How did the course with Nellie Deutch help me? How did I set about planning it? What problems did I face? And what do I want to do next? So this has all been professional development for me, as well as hopefully inspiring teachers worldwide to develop professionally as well. If you have any questions, please just pop them in the chat box, and I'll try to be looking over there in the chat box at the same time as I'm speaking.
I might also add that I opened an extra microphone, and Luciana has it. Luciana, would you like to say hi to us, or do you have any questions for Susan?
Hi, I'm Luciana. Actually, I'm from Argentina, but I'm currently living in the U.S. And my goal is to open my online an academy here in the U.S. and teach. Here they call it ESOL, English for Speakers of Other Languages, and to teach Spanish.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Well, that's great news. I hope I can help you formulate how you're going to do it and encourage you to go ahead, even though it was difficult for me. I'm always encouraging everybody to go ahead for several reasons. One reason is that you develop your own professional skills. It's a really great path to take in your professional development, because it's using what you already know, but it's doing it in a different way. And that really gets your juices in your brain going in a way. Okay, so what is SHELTA? Well, SHELTA stands for S for Susan, H for Hilliard, E for English, L for language, T for teachers, and A for academy. So far, I only have one course built. I'm on my third cohort now in this course. I built it as from December last year, and I opened in April. It's called Teaching English Through Drama, and I'm going to show you what I've included in it, just so that you've got an idea of my way of thinking. And it's caused me to think of my future plans, which are to develop more quality short courses on subjects that I've always really been interested in. That would be global issues, creativity for teachers, CLIL, which is content and language integrated learning, bilingualism, running a PLC or a professional learning community, motivation, leadership, advanced drama, SEN, which is education for special needs students, special educational needs, and English in the world, amongst other things. I have a long career in teaching, and I've been teaching all over the world. So I've met a lot of different cultures and a lot of different religions and a lot of different belief systems and behavior systems. And I think this idea of bringing people together from different areas is very, very exciting, and I think it's the future. So I'll tell you first of all what my own academy is doing at the moment, and I will elucidate, I hope, what I intend to do in the future. Hello, Gordon from Japan, Fukuoka in Japan. Hello, Gordon. Pleased to have you with us. Okay, as you can see from the pictures around my title, I'm interested in teaching English through drama. In fact, it's what I've been doing all my teaching career, because my degree is in dramatic arts, and I have a specialism in the sociology of education. And I have been doing English through drama for about 45 years now. My guru is the lady in the right-hand corner, Dorothy Heskett, and she has influenced me tremendously over the years. I am absolutely convinced that drama is a learning medium, and I'm absolutely convinced that it can transform lives. It does a lot of things for a lot of people, and I have honed down my own pedagogy, if you like, of teaching English through drama. And that's what I wanted to pass on in my academy. Really, drama is two packages combined. Hello, Jimena from Olivares. Welcome. Two packages combined. One is the multisensory package, where we teach through the senses. Very often, education is really only concerned with teaching through the ears. We do a lot of talking in our language classes, and we actually have concrete kids who are caught up in a wordy world. And what we have to do is make that wordy, abstract world move into the concrete areas for our students to get a grasp of it. Not only for special needs students, not only for young students, but for everybody. Language is just generally too abstract, I find. We also include in drama what I call the spice. And those are the 5 developmental processes that every learner needs to go through. So S stands for social development. In drama, we don't have the students sitting in rows looking at each other's backs. We have them in the circle, in what I call the magic circle. And we have them all looking at each other so they can see deep down into their souls. And we have the teacher included in that magic circle, not as somebody separate like the sage on the stage, but the guide on the side, or included in this inclusive classroom. So they work together, they work in a whole group, they work in pairs, they work in small groups, they come together in plenary, they go off and do things on their own. So it includes all the social aspects that we are able to include within the regular classroom. P for physical development. We work a lot on how we use our body language. Languages are made up of verbal language and body language, and we often forget that as teachers. We can give our students a lot of confidence if we can help them to use their bodies to express themselves in an English kind of way. I'm talking about English, but you can use drama to teach any language at all. You need the strategies, that's the point. And we also teach them blocking. Blocking in stagecraft means how you relate to other people on the stage. So when you walk onto the stage of conversation, or you walk onto the stage of daily talking, you know how to react to people who are near you or people who are far away. So the physical aspect is very, very important in drama. We teach them to mime, and this helps students a lot, and remime helps students a lot to get the vocabulary. I is for intellectual development. I need cognitive growth, but I need the C for the next one. So we develop all the cognitive skills. We make sure every lesson is a thinking lesson. And every lesson encourages them to use the language in a thinking kind of way. So we're not just developing very, very basic language skills. We're moving them towards fluency. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it's very step by step. But that's what we hope in the end, that they will be fluent in the language. C for creativity. Creativity is something that all students are born with. We, teachers, are all born being creative, but for some reason school tends to knock it out of you. School says, sit still, be quiet, don't be an individual. But drama says the opposite. Drama says, get up, do the doing of the language, and find your own creative self in the process. And that's very, very important for many students. And then E, emotional growth. We bring into the classroom the students' emotions. We let them express their emotions, say how they feel about things, and in that process, learn about themselves and about other people and how to deal with other people. Please put questions in the chat box, or stop me if you need to have anything explained. So we go from I can't to I can. I've been training 20 teachers for 6 years in Buenos Aires to teach in English in special education. It's the first time in Argentina that special needs students have had the possibility to access a foreign language. And we believe in the power of diversity. We believe that our differences in our abilities makes a difference in the world and makes our classrooms better places. We believe in joining hands with people from all other cultures, all other religions, all other kinds of homes, and all other abilities. We help students to put on the mask of drama so that they can stop being themselves, even if it's just for a moment in our classrooms, so that they can forget who they are. They can forget about their disabilities. They can forget that they come from dysfunctional families. They can forget that that their father's in prison. They can forget that their mother's a prostitute. Whatever kind of home they come from, they can forget about it by hiding behind the mask of the role play. We believe in equity, equality, diversity, and inclusion. And we accept any color, any shape, any size in our classrooms, and we treat them all with dignity and respect. So even the yellow umbrella feels that they belong. Each student should be in her or his element. As Ken Robinson says, we don't allow our students to show who they are. We don't allow them to show what they've got inside them. So we include music, movement, singing, mime, instruments, stand-up comedy, poetry reading, performance poetry. Everything is acceptable in our drama classroom. We really move English into action. So this is what it's all about. Taking the abstract, moving it into the concrete by using the two greatest resources you've got in your classroom. That is the student and the teacher. We look at Krashen's idea of comprehensible input, and we use a lot of stories, we use puppets, mime, songs, videos, movies, color, materials, whatever we can lay our hands on to make the input more comprehensible. But we also add to that Swain's idea of comprehensible output, and we let the students take the reins, if you like, of being the protagonists in the classroom. So they are the ones who are doing the talking. They are the ones who are doing the reading and the writing and the listening. They are the ones who are doing the thinking, and not the teacher. So the teacher gets out of the way and sets up learning situations. So we become facilitators. We also look at a new study which is called Enclothed Cognition. You can look it up on Mr. Google. The idea is that if you give people costumes, as we call them in drama, if you give people other clothes to wear, then they naturally understand that they become that person. So they put on the role, they take on the role, they put on the mask, and they change their voices. They change their stance, they change their posture, they change their language, and they change their register. And so we can help them find so many more ways of saying the same thing simply by using drama. We are doing performative activity, the speaking body in the empty space, which is something that I've been doing for 45 years. We don't need anything but the teacher with a toolbox of great ideas and the student there willing to learn. We need the motivation, we need the self-esteem, but we get that through the drama. And I'm going to conclude this part with this quotation. I know it's long, but if you'll just bear with me, it's the best quotation I've found in all my reading. Language learning through drama, as supported by the drama, brain, and language research reviewed here, can no longer be ignored. Drama involves the whole body and the whole brain in learning in a fictional context. It engages all of the multiple intelligences and matches the learning styles of all children, and of all learners, in fact. Enjoyable physical movement embeds the emotional impact of multisensory experiences on the cells of the body to form deep neuronal patterns in the brain, and thereby enable memory and recall more readily than methods having lesser sensory impact. Okay, I'll leave that there for a second or two. But this session is being recorded, so you can always go back to it. I've written a book called English Through Drama. It was published this year by Helbling, and it has almost 100 creative activities for inclusive ELT classes. And this is what I do in my academy. I summarize, if you like, each chapter of the book through action. So I show in my webinars that I do live once a week how to do these procedures. So, why did I think of this? Well, I've been doing it for 45 years, but always face to face. and I felt that I had a lot of material languishing, if you like, on my computer. And I thought, what am I going to do? Am I going to take all that to the grave with me? Or shall I try and put it out there in some way so that I can reach the world? This was my idea, that I could reach out to rural areas if they have the necessary technical equipment. I can reach out to cities which are not close to the capital city where all the courses take place. Here in Argentina, for example, we have a lot of big cities, but they don't get a lot of professional development courses. So this was my idea, to reach out and use all the stuff that I've gathered on my computer over these years. So I designed my course to follow this kind of structure. Week 1 is introductions, getting to know each other, finding your way around the site, the basic philosophy, content, and the syllabus, and the basic idea of what is drama. Because I have this very strong belief that drama and theatre are different things. Then week 2, I spend just solely, wholly on classroom management. Because if you're going to do drama in your classroom, you have to have a different style of classroom management. Then week 3, we start on the nitty-gritty, if you like, of teaching English through drama, where we do breathing, body and voice activities. Then week 4, we go on to pronunciation activities, because I believe that teachers don't teach pronunciation very explicitly, or if they do, it's very boring. So what I've tried to do is find new ways of teaching pronunciation, which are motivating, engaging, and fun. And then week 5, language games for speaking. And then week 6, fluency activities and the wrap-up. Any questions, please put in the chat box. Are you all here with me still?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah?
I'm curious.
Yeah?
You're doing this, is this part of your language academy? You're doing the drama, you're teaching by drama through the language academy?
Yes.
Online?
Yes.
Okay. And how is it working? Did I miss something? How do you engage the students in the way that, obviously it's very effective and fascinating, the way, and I've seen you online, you've come and presented to us about what you do with drama techniques for certain students. And so I'm just wondering, how is it, did I miss how it's done online?
No, I'm going on to that now, really.
Okay, okay.
A lot of people
all right, so anyway.
A lot of people have said that you can't do drama online, and I disagree. I'm on my 3rd cohort now, and I had 22 teachers in the 1st cohort. I had 20 teachers in the 2nd cohort, and I don't know how many I'm getting on my 3rd cohort, but all of them have said it was amazing, that it far exceeded their expectations. And on my 1st course, I even had a teacher trainer from the UK, from the Helen O'Grady Drama School, and she was actually she was a teacher trainer for all of their schools that they have in many countries. And so I was really excited about having her on the course, because I thought, I'm not going to be able to teach her anything. But she said she really got a lot out of it. And she really added to her own toolkit of how to teach drama. So I've got a comment here in the chat box, if I can just read it. Luciana from Clearwater, who is originally Argentine, says, will this also work with adults, or is it only for children? As adults, we tend to be more shy and we care more about what other people think, unlike children. So I guess it would be harder to get them involved. In my experience, in fact, I've always been a secondary school teacher. I've taught mainly in secondary, and I've done lots of teacher training through this methodology. But I've also taught in kindergarten and in primary, but just for 3 years in kindergarten and 1 year in primary. And it works for everybody. The important thing is that you believe in it. If you don't believe in it, no, it won't work. If you haven't got high expectations of them being involved, and if you don't have the methodology to get this shyness out of them, if you don't have the way of getting them into this way of working, then of course it won't work. So I always say, be confident yourself, believe in it yourself, try it out slowly, take baby steps before you take giant leaps, because if you're changing things in the classroom, it's change for everybody. So it's a great question. Thank you very much, Luciana. Has anybody else got any questions? Please put them in. Okay, so the structure of each week is like this. I built the course on the Moodle. And there are many, many things I still have to learn about. But so far, this is how I built the course. 2 or 3 reflective questions on the forum. So the students go into the forum and they set up their own profile, and they go into each week separately. So we start with week 1, and they answer 2 or 3 reflective questions by text or through video or through audio. They can answer them in 3 different ways. And then this is compulsory. This is the compulsory part if you want your certificate at the end. And they have to reply or respond to one other person's reflections in each forum. And then we go on, and I give videos, I give readings, I give them the handout to prepare for the webinar. And then we have a live webinar with a little bit of theory, but lots of practice. So I'm here on the screen, and I push my chair back, and I actually do the activities with them here on the webinar, and I expect them to join in. I don't know if they're joining in, but they all promise me that they do. And so they experience the activities before they take them into the classroom. And then they reflect on them in the fora, and they tell us how they managed, how they went, what went wrong, if it was great, and so on. Then we have more videos, more readings, podcasts with guiding questions, and those are not compulsory. My idea is that you get out of it what you put in. We have fora for sharing materials as well. In both of my cohorts, the students have shared a lot of materials with each other, a lot of lesson plans, a lot of ideas. And then at the end of each week, I do an evaluation of it on video, and I include it in the forum. And then there are further readings and resources for people who want to go ahead. Vance, does that answer your question? A little bit.
My question?
Yes, your question about how do I do it?
Yes, yeah, and also an important distinction, which I almost forgot, was you're teaching teachers. And
I'm teaching teachers.
Yes, so techniques for using drama to teach students. Exactly.
That's my idea, that the teachers experience them. I think it's very important that you experience them yourself. They try them out, maybe at home, and then they take them into the classroom. And then they let us know. This is the great thing about it. And I had teachers from, on the first course I had teachers from 8 countries, and on the second course I had teachers from 9 countries. So it's really intercultural. They're really sharing ideas about different education systems, etc. So this is really what's good about it, I think. So my expectations are that the more you put in, the more you get out. You're all adults. So I don't make very much compulsory. I know that you're working. I know that many of you, if you're female, have got children to look after. Not that the men don't look after the children, of course. That was very sexist of me. But I know that you've got houses to look after, you've got your own jobs, and you don't have very much time, and maybe you don't have very much energy at the end of the day either to put an awful lot of work in. But in fact, all my students have said that it's quite hard work. It's not easy. It's not easy work at all. I don't think that at this level, easy work is good for you. You know, I think if you're going on a course, you want to get something out of it. So I expect you to react honestly to the reflective questions. So no Googling. I want you to think about your own experience. I believe in the power of writing for professional development, and I believe in the power of reflection. Many of my students said, oh, I never thought of that. That's wonderful. That's really changed my mind about how I do such and such a thing. So those reflective questions are compulsory to get the certificate. I expect you to respond to others, and that's also compulsory. There are no formal assignments. If you want to write me an essay, or if you want to write an article to present to a magazine, of course, I will help you. But there are no formal assignments for me. You work at your own pace. Each week starts on a Wednesday and finishes on the next Tuesday evening, wherever you are. And then the next week, the following week starts on the following Wednesday. So you can work at your own pace within the week. The webinars are every Sunday at 4 p.m. GMT. Well, this is what I say, but in fact, what happens is that we see where the people come from, and then we may change that time so that it suits the majority. The webinars are all recorded, and the chats are saved. The chats in the webinars are one of the great things that I am able to develop. I don't seem to be able to develop it very well this morning, but in my course, I train them to chat with each other during the webinar. So they're listening to me, but they're also chatting. And I think that's all part of professional development. So how did I think of it? Well, I started doing an MSc at distance in 1988, and I really was not a lover of distance courses. I really didn't believe in technology. I came late to technology, being old as I am, and I found that I grew to adore this distance course. I had to give it up when we had the economic crash here in Argentina, because I just couldn't afford it anymore. So I had to give it up, which was a great shame. I loved it, and it sold me on what were called distance courses in those days. I then went on to write or author and tutor on 4 online courses. One for the New School New York on English in the World, one for La Sabana University in Bogota, Colombia, which was called Language and Globalization. And then I wrote my own course for net learning on from learning creatively to teaching creatively. So it included a bit of drama, but not totally drama. And then I co-authored a TDI TKT course for Pearson. I became an Evo drama participant, now having been sold on webinars and fora and online courses in general. And I then became a moderator for 6 years on Evo. And I moderated 6 courses. I've been a remote participant at 6 IATEFL conferences. I've done a couple of Coursera courses and 1 FutureLearn course. I've attended many, many webinars. I give many webinars. And I believe that MOOCs, massive open online courses, are helping people all over the world. So I wanted to take part in this kind of learning and this kind of teaching. From 1972 to 1980, I was a teacher in 2 countries. And then I became a teaching head in 3 more countries up until 92. Then I became a teacher trainer, and I still am a teacher trainer. I've done many conferences in 17 different countries. I'm a workshop facilitator and a materials writer, a course writer, and a webinar presenter. So I have a lot of stuff on my PC. Any questions? I have to be honest with you and tell you that it took me a long time to get into technology, and I've actually done a webinar based on this idea. And I started off by telling the story. Once upon a time, and I told my true story of fear, loathing, and humiliation in an effort to, through my honesty, show how turning to the PC can change one's life. I did that for Nellie, and it all came about from my son telling me, "Mother, you are a disgrace to the profession." He said that in 1986. And I said, "What do you mean?" No, sorry, 1998. "What do you mean? I thought I was okay." I mean, he said, "Yes, you go all over the world telling teachers they've got to change, and you can't even open a computer." I said, "Okay, right, you're absolutely right. I'm a hypocrite. So teach me." So everything I'm doing now is due to my son saying that to me and me listening. I ran a course for 6 years, as Vance said, for teachers here in Buenos Aires, and I opened a Ning. Every day they had to go onto the Ning and they had to share activities. And I ran a professional learning community through a Ning. It was hard work, but it was amazing what they learned and what they shared. A real professional learning community. I've done lots of classes on WizIQ, and I found that teaching online is a very different kind of business, but I believe in it, I believe it works. Then I decided, when I decided to open my own academy for teachers, that I would do Nellie Deutch's course. Because even though I taught on 4 courses, I'd forgotten really how to build it. So I needed to be reminded about the Moodle, because it's changed a lot. It has many, many more applications now. I needed to read for my reflection in order to develop my ideas, in order to develop the academy. I was on the fora with like-minded people, other people who were also interested in setting up their own academy. I got step-by-step help from Nellie. She's so understanding. I find very often with people who are very good at technology that they can't understand why I can't understand. But Nellie is completely different. She explains things so clearly, and she's so patient as well, and she accepts any question. No question is stupid for Nellie. Every question is worthwhile. I learned new applications, I learned new programs, and I began to analyze the courses that I had enjoyed through different eyes. I was able to analyze them through the eyes of a builder instead of a recipient. I started planning the content and the structure. As I said, I had a lot of stuff already here on the computer, but planning the scope and sequence, well, that's on the next slide, was quite hard for me, even though I was analyzing lots of courses that I had done. I got constant help and constant encouragement from Nellie Deutch on the course. So what were the problems? Well, developing the scope and sequence. I wanted to do a 12-week course, but I talked to many teachers. I did my own little surveys, and all of them said, no, please, no, not 12 weeks. There's no way we can commit ourselves for 12 weeks while we're working at the same time. So I said, well, how about 9 weeks? No. How about 8? No. So I cut it down in the end to 6 weeks. So throwing out a lot of material was very upsetting, if you like. How do you throw out material and keep it succinct to fit into 6 weeks? I had to take into account the cost. I know lots of teachers don't earn a lot of money. The duration I've talked about, the workload, what am I going to expect them to do? How much work can they do? How much energy have they got at the end of the day? I had to take into account global etiquette, cultural differences, how people write differently, how people express themselves differently, how not to offend anybody. I also had to recognize my own limitations and my own workload. How much could I put into this academy every day for the 6-week period? How much was I willing to spend on the computer just on this, because I have a lot of other work to do as well? So the building and the rejecting of lots of materials was very painful for me. I had to decide on a start date. How do you know when to start? I didn't know when to start, because how do you please people all over the world with different education systems, starting in January in the East, starting in September in the North, starting in March in Latin America. It was very, very difficult. You can't please all of the people all of the time. And then when to do the webinar, what time and what day. Designing the logo and the poster was extremely difficult. I had a lot of help from a designer, who is actually my daughter, and she came out with something which she felt represented me. Then the worst thing for me, the advertising. I've never been used to advertising. I've never advertised my own products, my own wares, and that was very, very hard for me, and still is. And then coping with the enrollments the first time was very, very hard for me. I got it down a little bit in the second cohort, and I think I'm going to manage much better this time. So what was the learning curve like? Well, this is about a different kind of course, but it just shows you graphically what it was like for me. It was up, wow, it worked, and then it was down. This doesn't work, what was I thinking? Then it was up, holy moly, I'm a god. Then it was down, why can't I get it to work? Then it was up, miracles happen without even trying. I should use these ideas. Read every book that exists on using the Moodle. Thoughts become things. I got this. I know nothing. And then up and down, up and down. I had to curate, I had to investigate, research, evaluate, plan, try out, change, share things, connect, and above all, hone down my intercultural skills. But I enjoyed thrilling achievements. I found it edifying, inspiring, exciting, if still scary, mind-opening, confidence-building, convincing, and thoroughly life-changing. I'm getting to the top of that cliff with Nellie's help and the help of other people who believe in what I'm doing. So, be professional, be passionate, be daring, and just do it. The next course is coming up on the 26th of October, and I'll be sending out the enrollment form soon through my Gmail, through Susan SHELTA on Facebook, and if you would like to take a look at my blog spot, You will see many presentations in there so that you can see the way I work. Thank you very much, Vance, for inviting me. We have 15 minutes left if anybody wants to ask any questions, and I will try to answer. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Susan. That's very inspiring. I really like the graphic you showed us just now. Shall I skip back to it?
Yes.
I think I might. Yes, okay. The learning curve. This one. Yes. I'm in there somewhere on this streaming that's not working. It was working last week, but now, oh, what did I do wrong? Anyway, I think I might not have enabled it. It tells me in YouTube that I'm streaming now. I was getting error messages, but anyway, that's beside the point. It's, you know, I see that you're going for the top of the mountain, and of course you go through some valleys, and eventually you get there, and and I really like the way that you're modeling, just through presenting to us. You're telling us quite a lot about how persistent you've been in the courses. For example, the NEAM that you have up right now.
Yeah.
I remember that course when it was running. I think I was checking it out for, you know, that looks very familiar. So anyhow, I like the way that you're modeling, and also that you are benefiting from models such as Nellie, and that's actually so much a part of teaching, I think, is just modeling heuristics for people to pursue in their own professional development. So I really like the message that comes across.
Thank you.
And I'd like to inform our audience that we have microphones open. If someone would like to ask Susan a direct question, you're quite welcome to click on the talk button, and it should open a mic for you. I opened 4 of them now. And of course you can always type a question in the text box. Jimena
has a question here that I can answer straight away. Jimena, I'm glad you found it inspiring. And Alejandra has a question about the platform. I use Moodle, and it's a Moodle within Nellie Deutch's Integrating Technology for All. I can send you the link to that if you like. Maybe, Vance, you know it. I'm not very good at finding things while I'm on here. Hang on a sec. I don't think.
What should I look for?
Nellie Deutch's Integrating Technology for All.
Okay. I'll Google that and find it.
Thank you very much. Within this Moodle, which is within Integrating Technology for All, you are allowed to use the WizIQ for as many webinars as you want. So your students go directly into the WizIQ platform through your exercises on the Moodle. So it's so simple, it's really fantastic. And there's something on the Moodle which is called a poodle. My husband always laughs when I start using these expressions, which is a video recorder. So I could record me answering the students' questions on the forum. And in fact, I've asked them, do you prefer me to answer by text, by typing, or do you prefer me to answer in person on the video? And all of them said, oh, on the video, because you get closer to us. We feel that you're really reading our responses and that you're really answering us personally. So I do tend to answer whenever I can, if I'm not in my pajamas or whatever. I don't know Edmodo. I tried it once, and I didn't feel that it was as good as the Moodle, but you know, these things are very personal. So I can't really answer that because I didn't go into it thoroughly. I hope that answered your question, Alejandra. And I hope that Vance is going to put up the www integrating.
I did. It's in the text chat.
Oh, it's there. Okay. Sorry, I didn't go down.
I hope that's the right one. And also, I might mention that Dennis Newsom has been trying very hard to reach us. There were various ways he could do it. I guess he was having trouble getting into Blackboard Collaborate, and of course my stream failed, and I can't really troubleshoot while doing so many things.
Exactly.
Red balls are all over the floor now.
Yeah. He wrote to me this morning. He said he was going to join us.
Yes. I mean, he tried, and then he also contacted me through Skype, and he went into the chat wing, which is, if you go to webheadsinAction.org/live, there's a place there where people who are trying to enter the stream can enter chat wing. It's there at webheadsinAction.org/live. So anyhow, the stream really has not worked, so I'm back in one of those valleys on your, probably about halfway
on my learning curve, right. One thing I'd like to say to everybody is do a course online as a participant. That's the best way to learn about Moodle, I think, because apart from doing the course with Nellie or with somebody else or, you know, whatever you can find, but I learned a lot as a participant. And I learned a lot being a moderator on Evo Drama for 6 years. So I think it's good to do a course first. So if anybody would like to join my course, I'll be sending out the enrollment. It isn't very expensive. I kept the costs down because, you know, I know that teachers don't earn very much, especially in this part of the world. And I made it $100. So it's only $100 for 6 weeks. So it's really cheap. Couldn't make it free because I've got to earn a living. So if you want to join it, just let me know.
That's a really good point. There's so much free online. I mean, you could join a MOOC and you know, experience interaction that way. But obviously, you've made the point that yourself and Nellie, for example, are actually committed to their students.
Right.
So even the first MOOCs, where where thousands of people enrolled in the connectivism and connective knowledge, or the one by Downs and Stephen Downs and George Siemens were teaching a course.
Yeah.
And they actually had people taking the course. Now, of course, those of us who were participating, the thousands of people participating in the MOOC, really, we obviously learned from it. That was the idea. We learned a lot about how to put on MOOCs, and that really carried a lot of people forward. But there were people taking the course and getting the benefit of those two excellent teachers. And I'm sure it was a much different experience from the rest of us.
Right.
So, but anyway, it's nice to have options. It's nice that if you want to dip into something free and just check it out, that's why there's so high attrition in these courses. I'll bet in your course, in SHELTA, I'll bet you have a very minimal attrition rate. People pay $100, so stay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not expensive for what you get. I mean, the quality of the course, I know, is good. I have no doubt about that. And
we have no doubt, having heard you present it.
And I know that the people get a lot out of it because they tell me. And I have testimonials if anybody wants to see them. But I think it's such a fantastic way of reaching people. This is what I find so inspiring. And when they interact on the fora and they share so many things, it gets them very excited. It inspires them, and it inspires them to carry on learning. And what I always do is encourage them to write. I try and get them to write for teachers' magazines, teachers' journals, and there are some of these journals that accept nice things like lesson plans and teachers' practical stuff, and they don't expect teachers to be too academic. And I think that's also very inspiring for teachers to pass on their own work to other people.
I might mention, if you want to steer people toward Tessel EJ. I'm the on the internet editor, and I'm not exactly overwhelmed with submissions. I've been doing it since 2003, and I've probably had exactly one submission every 4 months, so every 3 months. It publishes every 3 months. But I always get them, or I write them myself. Sorry?
Tessel EJ, did you say?
Yeah, Tessel Electronic Journal, tesselej.org. I'll put the link in the... If you wanted to encourage people to write for that, we're also looking for things that are, you know, not necessarily academic. I mean, we like a few references, and we like people to back up what they're saying.
Sure.
But it doesn't have to be like a regular article that's, you know, it doesn't have to be quite at that level. It should be practical. It's about practical things that you do on the internet.
Very nice. I'm writing at the moment I'm writing the chapters for a book which is coming out next year on teaching in difficult circumstances, and I'm just on I just finished my 4th edit, so that has been really hard work. But what I do is I try to encourage my teachers to write. There it is, there's the link, great. Tessel without an O. Teaching English as a second language, right?
-ej.org. So that should take you to the WordPress page.
Yeah. I always tried to encourage my teachers to write when I was on the Ning with them. And teachers find it quite tricky. Yes, teacher experiences are so important, not only for you to write about your own experiences, but for other people to read about your experiences. I think teachers in general are very pragmatic. You know, they need ideas, concrete ideas. Somebody's asking, no, in fact, the book isn't on Amazon, but you can buy it from, let's see if I can just get the link. I'm not very good at toggling, I'm afraid. It's called BEBC, www.BEBC. I've got it. Okay, I'm going to put it in the box. Oops.
Are you familiar with Joy Egbert's book, an edited book on teaching in difficult circumstances?
I don't have the book, but I have a reference to it.
Yeah, it was a project I participated in, and
really,
I wrote one about. Yeah, I wrote one about an article about teaching in the UAE, but also I was responsible for this area, so I had someone writing from Nigeria, someone writing from Iran, and there was someone else as well, but they were writing about trying to overcome teachers' attitudes, basically, teachers' attitudes and obviously infrastructure problems. But a lot of teachers, one of the things that came out of that was that teachers in some places expect that they should be paid for professional development, or they work very hard, which of course we're all sympathetic with, and they get low pay, but they don't feel that they feel so put upon by all that they have to do that they do not feel that professional development is something that that you know, this is something that they're not, as opposed to many of us who think, you know, really, you know, for me, this is evening for me, it's morning for you on a Sunday. Me, it's after work. I've got to go to work in the morning again, so because I work on Sunday. But it's something that I like to do so much that, you know, I mean, my life would not be sufficiently enriched if it weren't for professional development.
Exactly.
It's not something that I feel that, yeah.
It's a big problem here as well, because teachers get such low salaries that very often they work in one school in the morning, then they dash across town, they work in a different school in the afternoon, then they dash across town and they work in a different school in the evening, or they have private students in the evening just to boost their incomes. So I know what it's like. I've done it myself. I've been here for 27 years now. So I know the real situation. I know the reality of what we do. Jimena, if you want to take down my addresses there, my Gmail, if you want to get in touch with me, or if you want to join Susan SHELTA on Facebook, you'll get all the information you need. So, yeah, I look forward to having some of you on the course, and I look forward to you maybe bringing some other teachers with you. I've arranged with some teachers to do discounts also, if they can bring 4 or 5 teachers with them. So, trying to reach out as far as I can. Thank you, Vance. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, Susan. Well, thank you. This talk is, as you said, being recorded. The stream didn't work, but still with the Blackboard Collaborate file, actually it's done still through Illuminate, we can render it into MP4 and get an audio recording as well. So we can still put it on YouTube and make this widely available for people.
Okay, great.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much.
That's very nice of you. Shall we say bye-bye?
Yep, it's been an hour, and I'm sure you're very busy with your next project or the sub-projects involved in
well, I've got 8 people coming for lunch, so...
Ah, okay.
Thank you, Alejandra. Sorry?
I said I hope they're bringing lunch.
No, I'm making a Peruvian meal.
Ah.
I love Peruvian food.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, everybody, bye-bye.
Okay.
I'm not doing sweet. Bye, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I'm just going to outro here. We've been talking with Susan Hillyard. This is the 9th of October, 2016, and she's been telling us how she learned to set up her own language school and how she can help people do the same thing. Similar, she can help people learn these techniques through modeling them at her language school, SHELTA. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye-bye. See you next time.